Is that the church or is that just ancient Jews?
No, but I'm saying to you, according to the Bible, how they see it. And
Is that the
even to an
church
extent,
or
when
ancient Jews?
The church was very they had more in Europe. You had to take permission from the Pope before you could go to war. You couldn't
Is that a bad thing? Is it bad to seek approval before you do an action?
They used to seek approval from the Oracle of Delphi in Greece before they went to war. What's the difference? I think spirituality...
The difference is that the Oracle of Delphi is a demon.
Oh, that's not very fair.
Why is that not fair?
Oracle is a demon.
Yes.
I don't know, bro.
Yep.
You learn enlightenment. The Europe learned a lot of enlightenment from Greece. They learned philosophy from Greece. They learned democracy from Greece. They got mathematical and a lot of logic and reason from Greece. So the things that they took that they enjoyed.
There's a Greek flavor of those things.
They took a lot of medical learning, medical understanding from ancient Greek records and Roman records. When it suited them, they benefited. When Rome spread its knowledge,
right? But
four corners of the European continent, right, they benefited from Rome.
There are a bunch of.
They didn't get that from the Bible.
There are a bunch of material benefits that you can take from Rome, but there are no spiritual benefits. So because as Christians we are here to fix the world, not just from a case of building bridges and wells, but we're also here to spiritually rectify the world. Rome can't do that. So yeah, sure, Rome is great materially for material innovations. Shout out to them. But before them, there were many others who were great at material innovations that Rome took from. Big whoop. So ultimately, your case doesn't actually mean anything in the case of what Christianity is trying to do.
You're defending your Christian position. Like, look, that's what you're doing. And I'm saying to you, like, the world moves in cycles, isn't it? Every civilization has its contributions, isn't it? Back in the day, this would be ancient Egypt, ancient Babylon, ancient Persia, ancient Greece.
Are you addressing my argument?
Ancient Greece, ancient Rome, and they all contributed, didn't it? And the Israelites are at a time when they, via the church and Constantine, converted to Christianity to make it a state religion and spread it to all four corners of the earth.
That's not quite accurate, but okay. Close enough.
But
Constantine never made it a state religion. He just legalized it.
He legalized it, okay. But then it was able to spread Christianity further to far and distant places, yeah? Because the Empire of Rome was wide and had many colonies. And so when they turned to Christianity, they made their colonies turn to Christianity too. But that's the time when they were ruling. And then it could be, nothing lasts forever. Civilization.
The church will. It's a spiritual institution. Huh?
Is the church perfect?
It's perfect in its establishments by the person of Christ and the disciples. However, at times the church can get sick, but you can also receive healing, which is great. But we're promised one thing.
That's like a Native American shaman.
We're promised one thing.
Well,
no, you're only that's not accurate whatsoever. I said the church can get sick, as in the church can sometimes either be infected by a bad idea or be misguided by a bad idea. But it will always be rectified and fixed because Christ told us that the gates of hell will never prevail against the church. So unless we're going to proclaim that Christ is a liar, the church is going to be here regardless of what tradition.
The church authority gets many things wrong.
So it's not a case of...
They used to think,
individuals in the church...
The earth was center at the solar system.
Individuals can get things...
Galileo disproved that.
Galileo didn't prove that. Individuals can get things wrong, but the church does not get things wrong on theological matters. Simple as that.
But you know how much faith you have to put in the church?
Sorry?
You know how much faith you have to put in the church and its authority?
Well, put the faith not in the church, but in Christ. The church is just a gathering. That's all it is. Sure, it has a hierarchy.
Is a church an institution?
There's a hierarchy. It absolutely is a spiritual one, right?
And it's an institution.
There's a hierarchy
and
in every institution, and that institution can exert power. But ultimately, the institution...
They can abuse their power, right?
Individuals certainly can, but that has no bearing on the church as a whole.
So you think that the Christian is superior to all the other cultures?
Absolutely.
Yeah, see, therein lies the problem. It's superior.
Look at what we.
Because it tramples on other cultures.
Nope. See, Christianity allows you to maintain your culture. That's why when there's a famous quote, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Where did I come from? I came from a Christian, because Christianity was so different in different parts of the world where he went, right? So the great thing about Christianity is that it doesn't trample on culture. It will tell you when things are wrong about your culture that you have to discard. Like, for example, if you eat babies, But
They went to
fundamentally, people can
in every
be
in every
different
culture, in every
cultures and
in
traditions
every
and
culture.
still be Christians. That's why like Japanese Christians aren't like Roman Christians. They have common beliefs, but not common practices and cultures.
Japan was beaten into submission in World War II when they dropped Nagasaki.
Do you think that's the first time that Christianity came to Japan? Christianity came to Japan in the 1600s. And unfortunately then what happened was after they had converted about 300,000 people, the shogun decided to cleanse the land of Christianity and killed about...
If you go into the museums in the West, they keep all the artifacts of all the people that they
Big deal.
colonized. No,
Big
not
deal.
Big deal. They wouldn't. If it was a big deal,
Big deal.
then those cultures, Japan, Maori, New Zealand,
In every country in the world,
Africa,
you have things that were taken from other countries.
They wouldn't be asking for their artifacts back then, is it?
Big deal. That has nothing to do with Christianity.
If they thought those cultures,
That's a geopolitical issue.
not a geopolitical issue.
It is.
Those parts of the world, Western Europe.
Where does Christianity tell you to take the artifacts of pagans? Actually, we decry those things, actually.
Bro,
we don't take the artifacts.
When those Western Europeans left that part of the world, they went to north, east, south, west.
Everyone does that.
And they trampled, no they don't.
Everyone does that.
They trampled over other people's culture, pillaged,
that ain't got nothing to do with Christianity.
They got blood in their hands, bro. The church has got blood in its hands.
That's not the church is doing. Yes, at times the church was used as an institution to get compliance from people, but the church itself is not responsible for that institution.
David,
what's up?
Does the church have blood in its hands?
What do you mean by just having blood in its hands? Like, are there people?
It's done evil in foreign.
So the church does not do evil, but people in the church can do evil.
So it's got blood in its hands.
People have blood in their hands, not the institution. Anything else?
They have blood in their hands.
People do, but not the institution.
Yeah, because they went to other people's culture and they trampled on it.
So you're confusing
Mexico.
European colonialism with Christianity. They're not the same thing.
For 500 years, we're doing 500 years recent history, the age of exploration, the age of discovery. They went around to different cultures.
That's just colonialism, because you're gonna have to show me examples
Africa.
of show me an example of Jesus telling you to do that.
Yeah, but they weren't honoring Jesus. They used it as a political. Just like Constantine, who never truly believed in Christ.
There's evidence to suggest that he did believe in Christ.
He used it as a political weapon to unify the Romans, because Rome was on the decline.
You need to actually prove that the Romans were ununited at the time, because think about it.
They had problems, bro.
Well, they had problems, but how explain how Christianity fixed it? Explain how it fixed it.
He tried to give Christianity a new.
Hello?
Christianity. He used it.
What's up?
In order to assist him with political
I'm there.
manipulation. And he knows
everyone's here.
He's trying to look for escapism.
But you didn't explain how exactly your theory makes sense. Explain how Christianity can unify a bunch of pagans.
Constantine didn't use Christianity for political clout.
By the right, there is no need to use Christianity for political clout when Christianity is heavily unpopular in Rome. Christians are just thought about as being slaves and women and poor men. So there's no reason to use a tradition like that to unify Rome. If you would unify Rome, you would unify them under one of the more established imperial cults. But the fact that Constantine went with Christianity, made it legal, and at the end of his life, according to Eusebius, converted into Christianity, that means that something more than what you're representing occurred with him. He truly believed.
David. Okay, let me just be honest. In any way, shape, or form, did Constantine use Christianity as a religion for political gain, favor?
I don't see how. So unless you can prove it, then it's a pointless claim.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch.
Prove it then. Prove to me what political gain he made from adopting an unpopular religion that was seen for the last 300 years as being treacherous.
People stopped believing in the Roman people. They had problem with the Roman pantheon.
What problem did they have with the Roman gods in the 300s?
Things in Rome, and a lot of people have stopped believing in it.
Where are you getting that from?
History, bro.
What history?
Roman history.
What history? Show me. Show me a decline in the worship of cults in Rome. Show me.
Let's go into the history.
Go for it.
David, fully being ignorant right now.
I'm happy for you to prove me wrong, but I doubt you can.
Constantine the Great played a pivotal role in elevating the status of Christianity in Rome. He criminalized the Christian practices and ceasing Christian persecution.
In 313 AD.
This was a turning point of Christianization of the Roman Empire. He founded the city of Constantinople. Let's get into it. Hold on. I'm sure I can find something.
You're not going to find
during
a
his
decline.
reign, Constantine shared empire consisted of Britain, Gaul, Spain, commanded one of the largest empires. And it goes on to say that Constantine began a major expansion of Patria. He strengthened the circuit in all the world. And it goes on to say Maxentius rebellion. Following Galerius' recognition of Constantine as Caesar, Constantine's portrait was brought to Rome, as was customary. Maxentius mocked the portrait subject. Maxentius, envious of Constantine's authority, seized the title of emperor in 28 October 306. Galerius refused to recognize him, but failed to unseat him. Severus was against Maxentius in April 307, but during the campaign, Severus' armies, previously under command of Maxentius, father of Maxminian, defected, and Severus was seized and imprisoned. So we got all this civil unrest at the political level, and it goes on to say Maxminian's rebellion. Oh my word! A lot of things going on. Maxentian was captured and reproved for his crimes. Constantine granted some clemency, but strongly encouraged his suicide. In July 310, Maxminian hanged himself. And it goes on. Oh my word! Hold on. Civil wars, war against Maxentius. By the middle of 310, Galerius had become too ill to involve himself in imperial politics. His final act survives: a letter to the provincials posted in the Nicomedia in 30 April 311, proclaiming to the end of the persecutions and the resumption of religious toleration. And it goes on to say all this civil unrest. It goes on. Hold on. Constantine's advisors and generals cautioned against preemptive attack on Maxentius, even though the soothsayers recommended against it, stating that sacrifices had produced unfavorable omens. So there's certain things that his advisors are warning him against. Constantine, with the spirit that left a deep impression on his followers, inspiring some belief that he had some of his supernatural guidance. Let's say that again, just in case some people didn't catch. It goes. Constantine, with a spirit that left a deep impression on his followers, inspiring some to believe that he had some form of supernatural guidance, ignored all these cautions. Early in the spring of 312, Constantine crossed the Cottian Alps with a quarter of his army, a force numbering about 40,000. The first town his army encountered was Susa in Italy, a heavily fortified town that shut its gates to him. Constantine ordered his men to set fire to its gates and scale its walls. He took the town quickly. Constantine ordered his troops not to loot the town and advance into northern Italy. While we see all of this, we see him trying to win favor with people. His advisors telling him that this is happening, that's happening, and he's trying to go on like he's still receiving some type of supernatural guidance as the emperor of Rome. Like, this is why religion and politics works hand in hand. I'm getting to the Christian part. I go in Rome, Constantine entered Rome. Temple of Jupiter. Okay.
He made a claim that
unlike his predecessors,
at the time, Roman paganism was declining.
Yeah, it was. Unlike his predecessors, Constantine neglected to make up the trip to Capitoline Hill and perform customary sacrifices at the Temple of Jupiter, which is one of the Roman pagan gods. However, he did visit the senatorial Curia Julia and promised to restore its ancestral privileges and give it a secure role in his reformed government. Yeah, that reformed government. That would be no revenge against Maxentius supporters. In response, the Senate decreed him title of the first name, which meant that his name would be listed first in all official documents, and they acclaimed him as the greatest Augustus. He issued decrees returning property that was lost under Maxentius, recalling political exiles and releasing Maxentius' imprisoned opponents. And it goes on, he was written up as a tyrant and set against the idealized image of Constantine as the liberator. And it goes on. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on to indicate why there was civil unrest, religious turmoil that would lead a person to consider changing his ideas. But anyway, let me go on to say, Constantine was the first emperor to stop persecution of Christians and to legalize Christianity. Along with all other religions and cults in Roman Empire, in February 1313, he met with Licinius in Milan and developed the Edict of Milan, which stated that Christians would be allowed to follow their faith without oppression. This removed penalties for professing Christianity, under which many had martyred previously, and returned confiscated church property. The edict protected all religions from persecution, not only Christianity, allowing anyone to worship any deity that they chose. A similar edict had been issued in 311 by Galerius, senior emperor of the Tetrarchy, which granted Christians the right to practice their religion, but did not restore any property to them. The Edict of Milan included several clauses that stated that all the confiscated churches would be returned, as well as other provisions for previously persecuted Christians. Some scholars think that Helena adopted Christianity as an adult, and according to Eusebius, she was converted by Constantine. But other historians debate whether Constantine adopted his mother Helena's Christianity in his youth, or whether he adopted it gradually over the course of his life. Constantine possibly retained the title of Pontifex Maximus, which emperors bore as heads of the ancient Roman religion until Gratian renounced the title. According to Christian writers, Constantine was over 40 years old when he finally declared himself a Christian, making it clear that he owed his successes only to the protection of the Christian God. Oh my word. So listen to this. Constantine, I'm going to say that again. Constantine was over 40 years old when he finally declared himself as a Christian, making it clear that he owed his successes only to the protection of the Christian God. Despite these declarations of being a Christian, he waited to be baptized until on his deathbed, believing that the baptism would release him of any sins he committed in the course of carrying out his policies while emperor. He supported the church financially, built basilicas, granted privileges to the clergy, such as exemption from certain taxes, promoted Christians to the high office, and returned the property confiscated during the long period of persecution. His most famous building projects include the Church of Holy Sepulchre, etc., etc., St. Peter's resting place, St. Peter's. Constantine might not have patronized Christianity alone. A triumphal arch was built in 315 to celebrate his victory in the Battle of Milvian Bridge, which was decorated with images of goddesses Victoria, and that's a pagan god, and sacrifices which made to pagan gods as its dedication, including Apollo, Diana, Hercules. Absent from the ark any depictions of Christian symbolism. However, the ark was commissioned by the Senate. The absence of Christian symbols may reflect the role of the Curia at the time as a pagan readout. So there's a lot. Hold on, there's more. In 321, he legalized that the Venerable Sunday should be the day of the rest for all citizens, which is the reason why the Christians worship on Sunday.
We did that before.
All right, but hey.
And I can show you writings from fathers from the 2nd century that said that we do it on Sundays.
Okay, so that could be looked upon as a deviation from the Sabbath.
It's not a deviation.
They thought they worship on the Saturday, not the Sunday.
We worship on the day that Christ rose, so Sunday, not Saturday.
So you do away with the Sabbath?
We haven't done away with the Sabbath. We simply not recognize it on a different day.
But I know, but that's
so
not part of the Torah.
Note that.
That's not part of the Torah.
So don't forget that we're Christians, not Torah observing Jews, right? So never forget that your point does not stand because you claimed that Roman paganism was occultic worship was declining. Meanwhile, you read there that in 313, when the Edict of Milan is decreed, it grants religious tolerance and freedom for not only Christians but also cults.
All religions.
So, if the cults were declining, why would there be cults still who would require religious freedom? Your
because
claim.
I said that the God is losing power. It's losing cultic power.
The God,
reason being, because look at this. Because in 1321 he legislated that the Venerable Sunday should be the day of rest for all citizens. In 323 he issued a decree banning Christians from participating in the state sacrifices. After the pagan gods had disappeared from his coinage, Christian symbols appeared as Constantine's attributes. The chi-rho,
The Cairo.
the chi-rho between his hands or on his labarum, as well as the coinage. The reign of Constantine established a precedent for the emperor to have great influence and authority in early Christian councils. Most notable, the dispute over Arianism. Constantine disliked the risk to societal stability that religious disputes and controversies brought with them, preferring to establish the orthodoxy. His influence over the church councils was to enforce doctrine, root out heresy, and uphold ecclesiastical unity. The church's role was to determine proper worship doctrine and dogma, because he believed that now the Jupiter, which is the chief god of the Romans, the head out of the pantheon of gods, well, the cults were losing influence amongst the elite. Constantine would have been an elite.
So
And I mentioned Constantine.
you said that they were losing influence.
I mentioned Galerius, and Galerius seemed to have shared certain Christian sentiments.
So
Did you hear that part, right?
there was
Galerius.
nothing of him sharing secret sentiments. So you claimed that what happened here was that before the issuing of the Edict of Milan, that the reason Constantine does this is because the cults are losing power. Yet you've read two instances where the cults are still doing state-level sacrifices that Christians are later, 7 or 8 years after the edict, banned from doing in 321. So if the cults are losing power, how are they still doing state-level sacrifices?
Remember, he didn't convert to Christianity till he was 40, close to his death. I just read that part.
Your
close to
claim,
his-
that wasn't
Hold
your
on,
claim.
hold on,
Your
hold on.
claim was that he used Christianity because the cults were losing power. But
He had wars, he had battles. There was a lot of civil unrest at a political. Religious level.
what does that
Hold on.
affect the cults?
I'm trying to say to you, he's the emperor, bro, and the emperor is looked upon as a
Was he the emperor when he was fighting or after he'd won the battles? After. So your claim was wrong.
He wasn't confident to tell the people outright that he was a Christian. He waited till he was 40 plus, and close to his deathbed, before he's even talking about, oh, I'm an outward Christian. So he wasn't confident that he could tell the people that he was a Christian.
When you become Christian, you have to go
when he was
through
back
a
to-
degree of something called catechesis,
Hold on.
which is where you actually taught
Hold
the
on,
faith.
hold on.
So you can be convinced that the faith is true, but until you actually go through the necessary teachings to ensure that you know what you're talking about, maybe he took it so seriously that he wasn't willing to
You don't know
proclaim
that.
it until he had gone through the proper teachings.
don't know that.
And we can see this when we actually see a quote of him.
David, you don't know that.
Well, you can see this actually. We know quotes from him in Eusebius's ecclesiastical history, and there's certain phrases that Constantine uses that shows that he knew his Bible quite well, because he uses a phrase that only appears in the Greek Bible twice. It's called apogasma, basically the radiance of God's light, which is what we used to describe Jesus. And he basically said that the pagan temples did not have the apogasma of God. So if this guy spent this long reading his Bible to quote a word that only appears twice in the entire Bible, in Hebrews and in the Old Testament, and it stands for reason that before he was able to profess that he was a Christian, he had done his studying.
David, I hear what you're saying, yeah? But you're an intelligent man, yeah? And I believe that you're selective in what you like to adopt in order to support your Christian narrative and your position from what you don't want to adopt. I'm saying to you, yeah, a lot of the things you're saying, you would like to believe that, and it would make you sleep at night for you to believe that. But I'm saying to you this, isn't it?
That's not an argument.
If a person's going through strife and he's going through turmoil, it can shake the faith. And it looks like Constantine's faith was shaken since he was born a pagan. He wasn't born a Christian. And so at some point in his life, he's lost faith in those Roman gods. Because at some point in battle, he starts to think that his victory is down to the Christian god, not the Roman god. He no longer is doing certain sacrifices to the god Jupiter as normally it was expected of Roman emperors. Roman emperors had an imperial cult system, so they was deemed as like god men in flesh, as a Roman emperor, as an imperial emperor of Rome. They was looked upon as somewhat paganistic. Yes, they was. The emperors was looked upon as divine.
You're not making a point.
Yes, I am. They were looked upon as divine. So he started to lose faith, and many of them seemed that Emperor Constantine, Galerius, start to show signs that they're leaning towards Christian ideals.
You claim that they lean towards Christian ideals to unify the empire, and that
emperor-
cultic worship was declining, but you were unable to prove either of those things.
They were losing, bro. If the most senior member, if the most senior member of a society, or senior members of the society, the aristocracy, the nobility, can people not question if King? Okay, for example, hold on.
You also read that he didn't make his conversion public until years later.
Because he wasn't confident to make it
so
public.
then you're still not accurate in what you said.
Yes, because it's political maneuvering. He's using the media to his advantage.
He didn't use Christianity for his advantage. Christianity was unpopular. So you making the claim that
he was manipulating the media.
You're not proving it.
He's on the surface. He's a Roman. He's a standard Roman emperor, believing in the pagan Roman gods. On the other hand, he secretly confesses in his heart that he believes in Christ and this new Christianity. But he doesn't want to go and tell the people that the Roman religion is no more.
You're making a new point. That wasn't your initial point.
I'm not making a new point.
Yes, you are. You remember your old point.
Go and tell me.
Wait, you remember it?
Tell me, bro.
So you forgot your own point.
No, I didn't. I told you that the cults were losing influence. They were losing power. There has to be.
Before or after? Before or after Constantine becomes emperor?
I don't know if it's before or after.
You said before.
What I'm saying to you, he was born to aristocracy. They're part of the nobility. They're part of the elite. I don't know if I said before.
You said before.
So don't quote me on that.
You said before.
I'm trying to say to you, I want to be historically factual when I'm talking about these things. I don't want to say something and it's not true.
So you're wrong and Christianity's lit. Is that the conclusion?
You're just jumping now, because you want it to be right in your mind. You don't even want to deal with the fact that.
Do you want to be wrong in your mind?
Is Donald Trump a Christian? Because he confesses with his tongue.
He might confess so, but when he was, for example, asked, "What's your favorite Bible verse?" Right?
All right.
He said, "Oh, I can't pick. I love them all." And they pushed him. Just give us one. I can't pick. I love them all. So, unlike Constantine, Donald Trump clearly hasn't studied his faith before professing it. So it was wise of Constantine to study the faith first before he professed it.
People in political positions or in positions of nobility, of authority, do things for maneuvering, media.
Prove to me that he used Christianity for these ends. Prove it.
They do it anyway. So does.
I want you to prove that Constantine did this. Please prove that.
I just showed you those things, though.
You didn't. Okay.
You didn't show.
You didn't show me that Constantine used Christianity for that.
Christianity was all white. It was the true religion and superior religion and the facts, and he received revelation from Christ or the God of Christ. He would have went and told the people Christianity is the truth. He didn't do that, did he?
Why wouldn't he study it first beforehand?
But at no point in his life did he do that, though, did he? After he studied it.
So
did he ever come out?
How does
did he ever come out in the capital of Rome, known as the atrium?
It was his son, Theodosius, that eventually made Christianity the official state religion.
I'm trying to say Constantine. Did Constantine come out in the capital of Rome?
In the same way that Constantine.
Tell everybody as Romans. I as emperor of Rome declare that Christianity.
Why is that the only way for him to believe that it's true?
Then he weren't confident that it was true, was he?
So when you're confident that something is true, you go and declare it to people, yeah?
When you're in a position of power.
Right, so when you're confident something is true, even though it's a personal conviction, and through your policies, you give the people who follow that religion more rights and more access and have them reclaim their properties that were taken from them, that's not enough proof. He has to go there and audibly say something, right?
What I'm trying to say to you is this, yeah? You are either deliberately ignoring, or you don't want to hear that politicians, nobility, aristocracy, elites in positions of power do things. Look, there's a famous saying: the working class believes in religion, the middle class doesn't really care, it's neither here nor there, and the ruling class believe that religion is useful. And it couldn't be more true when it's dealing with people like Constantine or it's dealing with people like Donald Trump. I'm not saying he didn't hold on. I'm not saying that deep down he probably didn't have a certain kind of experience that would have made him lean towards Christianity in favor of the Roman gods. But I'm trying to say to you, prior to that, emperors always followed the Roman gods without need for question. So
you don't know that.
You don't know that. So the fact that
you're making the claim like it's true with no evidence.
The fact that Rome conquered most of the known world, And when they was conquering the known world, they weren't conquering in the name. Hold on.
You're not making a point.
1 second. When they was conquering the world to stretch the Roman Empire to make it the size that it was, Julius Caesar, this Octavian, this emperor, that emperor, they did it when they had a belief. They had a belief in their head as generals and as
You're
Roman.
not making a point that relates to anything that we've spoken about so far.
They believed in the Roman gods, bro, when they was conquering, there was that battle. When Alexander was conquering, he believed in the Greco-Macedonian gods. He didn't do it with an empty brain, did he?
You have no idea what Alexander the Great believed in.
He believed in what of the Greco-Roman religions of the day, bro. Now you're being
He was Macedonian.
Greco-Macedonian, and Macedonians follow Greek gods, bro.
Which god did he follow?
I don't know what particular cult he followed, did it? But Macedonians believed in Greek gods.
How you know he wasn't an atheist?
You're being difficult now, but you're reaching. Yeah, and I like the fact that you think you can reach, but the only time I reach is when I play basketball, and there's no need for me to reach my mind.
You haven't made any points here that disqualify the fact that Christianity changed the world.
Alexander the Great was not an atheist, bro.
How do you know that?
Julius Caesar was not an atheist, bro.
How do you know that?
But then you just want to deliberately be ignorant of history.
So what about history makes you think that Alexander the Great was not an atheist?
He was a product of the culture that birthed it.
How do you know that?
Oh, man.
How do you know his personal belief?
How do you know Julius Caesar didn't really believe in the Roman gods? Yet he believed in. Wait, he was produced by the very.
You're
culture.
just asking me a question to answer my question.
Wait. How do you know the Aztecs didn't really believe in the Aztec gods? How do you know the Chinese didn't really believe in the Chinese gods?
So you're just jumping away from my question.
No, I'm trying to say to you, I'm playing your game. I know the Hindus didn't really believe in the Hindus' gods. They just put their red dot on their foreheads for fashion.
All right.
So you don't really know what
whatever those civilizations believed in doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the fact that the original conversation that we're talking about states that the Christian God and the Christian tradition, the Christian governments, are the ones that have indeed made the world a better place. Yes, people could contribute to the world materially by building bridges and coming up with cool mathematical equations for building our structures, but spiritually and theologically and morally, there has not been anything superior to Christianity as of yet.
Influenced by Christianity. This is what it is with religious people, that they have to hold a certain position to protect their narrative. Constantine was born a pagan. Galerius was born a pagan. Maxentius and all those people was born a pagan. The generation before them were pagans. The generation before them was pagans. And they believed...
You're not making a point.
They believed in Roman gods, bro. They had no reason to change their gods.
You're not making a point.
But when the gods no longer answered their prayers during the time of Constantine, or he felt that Christianity was more of a better option, or was closer to him to his heart, that he thought that Christianity was now giving him the successes, which I just read. They believed that the successes that he was achieving in his life at that time, he owed it to the Christian God. The emperors before them didn't say that. The emperors before him didn't do that. They were Roman and they believed in the Roman gods. Simple. They didn't need to change. Just like the Chinese didn't need to change their gods. Just like the Japanese didn't need to change their gods. Just like the Maori and the
You're not making a point.
I am making a point. I'm saying that people change their gods upon them either losing faith or the cults losing...
What's that got to do with our conversation?
You just keep moving the goalposts, bro.
You are moving the goalposts, like I told you.
Are you not understanding the part that
the
the cults losing favor, losing...
You claim that this happened before. It didn't happen before, it happened after.
You're looking for all these micro points that you're trying to zero in on.
Well,
you not hear about the thing that I just said, that the working class believes in religion or believes in God. The middle class, the middle class.
There are more atheists in the working class than there are in the upper class. Because there are less people in the upper class, and so because there are less people there, how you doing? Because there's less people there, there's going to be less instances of people being irreligious.
The middle class.
So because most people, particularly now, exist in the lower class, you're going to have more instances of people being non-religious in the lower class than you will in the upper class.
I don't believe
by
that.
By virtue of number.
I don't believe that, David. I don't believe that. And you can't prove that.
It doesn't matter what you believe. What matters is that, for example,
it always matters about what someone believes.
When you do any of the...
You think Alexander's an atheist? I don't know where.
Well, I'm asking you how you don't know that. So, bottom line, you weren't able to dissuade me from the idea that the church is the thing that has changed the world for the better. And all you could say was that the Greeks had democracy. Good for the Greeks. They had a couple of good ideas. Well, spiritually and logically and theologically, they had very bad ideas. Christianity came and was able to assimilate the things of that tradition that were good and discard the things that were wrong. Simple as that.
Mr. David, do you not understand that civilizations borrow from each other? Like there's layers. Like the Romans borrowed from the Greeks. The Greeks probably borrowed.
I already brought this up earlier.
Yeah, so
you're just repeating my point again.
So Christians borrowed from the ones that came before them. Like, why can't you see
materially, but not theologically?
Well, you would like to think that, though.
All right. Well,
you would like to believe that.
You tried, man.
Why don't? No, you tried. Because I don't see how a lot of the benefits that you see in Western civilization isn't owed to Greece and Rome. And the Greek and Romans probably got it from an older civilization before them.
Materially, sure, but theologically, no. Anyway,
you're reaching now.
Have a great day, man.
I hear you.
My dude.
Good conversation, though.
Yeah. People come over. Yeah.
I like it still.
No problem. You want to be on camera with the conversation, or just have it on the side? Inside? Sure thing. Yeah, no worries. Yeah.